So this is part 2 of our partial fraction decomposition with linear factors. So we went through the steps and the process with one example, and so I want to take you through another example completely and then just another setup, and then I'll let you do your homework. So I've got 2x squared plus 7x plus 4 over x plus 1 cubed. Okay, remember, we're not trying to factor the numerator, not that we could, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that the denominator is factored. It's factored completely. It's x plus 1 to the third power. And so as I mentioned in video number 1, when you have a power in your denominator, you need to take into account all the different ways that this could be broken down. And this is x plus 1 being raised to the third power. This is linear. And so we're going to have x plus 1 to the third. We could also have had an x plus 1 squared, and we could also have had an x plus 1 to the first power. And again, these are each linear, so I'm just going to use the letters A, B, and C. So now we have it set up. Each possible denominator has its own little numerator. The next step in our process was to get these three fractions added together. And we already know that our common denominator is x plus 1 cubed. And so I'm going to start right here. And my current denominator is x plus 1. And to change it to x plus 1 cubed, I'm going to have to multiply it by x plus 1 squared. And so I would have x plus 1 squared times x plus 1. Now, this is where you've got to remember that when you are squaring a binomial, you must FOIL. And some of you all know that, but some of you tend to forget that. And if you forget that, it's going to throw off your answer. So x plus 1 squared would be x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then I would need to distribute the a, and I would have ax squared plus 2ax plus a for my numerator of my first expression. For my second expression, the current denominator is x plus 1 squared. It needs to be an x plus 1 cubed. So I would need to multiply the numerator and the denominator by x plus 1. And when I distribute, I'm going to get bx plus b. And for my third rational expression, I already have the correct denominators, so I would not have to change anything in the numerator, and so I would leave it just as a c. So we took the denominator, broke it into its linear factors, gave each factor a single letter numerator, and then we worked to get common denominators and to combine those three separate fractions into one fraction. So now we have two equal fractions. They have the same denominator. So I'm going to set the numerators equal to each other. And there's no point in continuing to write the denominators because they are already equal. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange the numerator on the right and put them in descending order. And so I'm going to start with ax squared. And then I'm going to have 2ax plus bx plus a plus b plus c. So I have my x squared term and my two x terms, and then my letters that do not have x with them. And so now I'm going to clean up just a little bit more. Both 2ax plus bx, they both have an x. So I'm going to factor that out, just so I can kind of see how things are going to line up. So on the left side, I've got 2x squared plus 7x plus 4. On the right side, I have ax squared plus 2a plus bx plus a plus b plus c. Now these are equal. So the 2ax squared is equal to the ax squared. So that means that the a is equal to 2. The 7x is equal to the 2a plus bx, That means that 2a plus b is equal to 7. At the back, we have a 4 on the left side. On the right side, we have a plus b plus c. That means that a plus b plus c is equal to 4. So 2x squared is equal to ax squared. That means that a is equal to 2. 7x is equal to 2a plus bx. That means that 2a plus b is equal to 7. The 4 is the constant at the back, and that would be equal to whatever letters are left over at the back on the right. So now I have a system of equations. Again, that's why it's in this chapter. Here, you will see that we already know that a is equal to 2, and so I can quickly plug that in to the second equation, and I can figure out that b is going to be 3. And then I can take the 2 for the a, the 3 for the b, and I can quickly figure out that c is negative 1. So I have a is equal to 2, therefore the b is equal to 3, which makes the c equal to negative 1. Now don't forget to write your answer. We were looking for the 3 fractions that were used to add together to come up with our solution, or excuse me, our expression here. So I need to go back and I need to put my a, b, and c in. My answer would be 2 over x plus 1 plus 3 over x plus 1 squared plus negative 1 over x plus 1 cubed. Now you could say minus 1. And so these are the 3 fractions that you can add together. And when you add those together, as we did yesterday, they will give you 2x squared plus 7x plus 4 over the common denominator of x plus 1 cubed. Partial fraction decomposition. Now, I want to set up one more problem, one that's a little bit different. I want to look at 3x squared minus 7x minus 2 over x cubed minus x. And so step number 1 is to factor completely. So I'm going to take an x out, and that would leave x squared minus 1. And I can factor that into x minus 1, and x plus 1. So my factors are x, x minus 1, and x plus 1. And so I have 3 different factors. So each factor gets to have its own fraction. And so I would have x, x minus 1, and x plus 1. And I would have an a, a b, and a c. And the common denominator is going to be x, x minus 1, and x plus 1. And so then you could multiply accordingly. And I know the videos are getting long, so I'm not going to work through this one, but I will give you the answer. And the answer, the a works out to be 2, and the b is equal to negative 3, and the c is equal to 4. So the final answer should be 2 over x plus negative 3 over x minus 1 plus 4 over x plus 1. So if you want to practice this problem before you start on your homework, your answer should be 2 over x plus negative 3 over x minus 1 plus 4 over x plus 1. So remember that we Zoom every day from 10 to 10:30. So if you have questions over partial fraction decomposition, I will be glad to talk with you and walk you through these during that time tomorrow. And remember that we will have a quiz on Thursday over our partial fraction decomposition. And please remember to send me good pictures. And if you have more than one picture, please send them to my email. Your homework, I have it listed as an assignment in Schoology, but I want to go ahead and write it here on page 485. I want you to work number 57, 58, 61, 66, and 105. And you can check 57 and 61 and 105 in the back of the book, and I will give you the answers to 58 and 66 before we take our quiz.